Alright, now first things first. This is going to be a video on how to give you some ideas on how to make a fantasy map for an RPG or a story that you're working on. If you already have established cities and stuff, this will be a little bit easier. But let's just say we're going to start from scratch here. We don't really have any ideas or preconceptions about what we're going to do other than, let's say this is going to be a pirate game. We're going to have an RPG where we're going to be at sea a lot, so there are going to be a lot of islands and coastal cities and whatnot that we want to have. So first things first, you're going to need a pen or a pencil or a marker and some paper. And I recommend graph paper because it makes it easier to judge distances. So generally speaking, nature does not work in straight lines. The more it curves and squiggles about, the more realistic your islands and landforms are going to be. And this is mostly for a large geographical area. This could be one smaller island if you want, but I would change the scale just a little bit, make it a little bit larger. Maybe use one piece of paper just for one area, but for this we're just going to be working on more of a large world-sized area. So you can notice that I'm really just kind of squiggling these lines up. No, it doesn't matter. You don't want them to be smooth. That's one reason I kind of like doing with the pen, is you have to stick with what you got and try and make it work. Alright, so we've got kind of this landmass here, and then maybe we have a southern region here that isn't quite as explored. We don't know what's going on down there. That before we really get into putting down cities or anything like that, we'll want to make a legend in the top corner here. I'm just going to make a very simple one for this. A triangle with a stick is a tree. A triangle is a mountain. And a wiggly line, we're going to go with a river. So water flows from higher elevation, especially from mountains. So when we add mountains in, we want to have rivers coming from them frequently. That's just kind of how things tend to work. That this is kind of an interesting little shape that we have here, this alcove. So I'm going to make some really kind of jaggy mountains here. And if you know anything about geography, older mountains are lower, they're flatter. Newer mountains are taller and more jagged. They've had less time to be eroded by wind and water and just weather in general. So these are kind of mediocre, younger mountains, but maybe over on this side they're a little bit longer. They've been here for a long time. There's some old mountains. Something like that. So from this is where we'll want to have rivers. We'll have a river kind of just flowing out here, and don't worry about keeping them straight again. Really kind of make them jagged. Nature doesn't make a river that flows perfectly smooth. It bends and twists and turns. You can also add like a lake. Maybe there's a slightly lower area here. So we got some almost like hills, not necessarily mountains, but some hilly area here. Just with these simple marks here. And that goes all the way out back to sea. Something like that. So this is kind of a cool point to put in a city. I like to do regular cities with dots and then stars for capital like cities. And we can name this whatever we want. I'm just going to go with port for now. Maybe this is going to be a pirate cove over here. So we'll go with Redbeard's Rest. Just an arrow indicating that's where it is. So let's put a couple of trees in here. A couple little mountains. It's very well hidden in this little alcove here. Maybe we'll even put some more islands around it, kind of protecting it. Maybe there are watchtowers and stuff out here to draw a signal if the Imperial Navy or something like that is coming along. So then that's that's a pretty good start for a map here. I mean, I'm drawing this at a little bit of an angle. I'm trying to make things a little bit more uniform up and down. Another thing we can do is we can figure out how far and what the scale is using squares. That's why I like to use the graph paper. You see on a lot of maps that 1 inch equals 1 mile or 1 inch equals 10 miles. We can do the same thing on here with just some graph paper. So we'll just make a line, and we'll decide that this distance is 50 miles. So that's actually quite a distance. So a square and a half is 25. Something like that. I don't know if you can really understand that. So 3 squares, 50 miles. That means it's going to be quite a fair distance between these, but not a totally insane amount. This is a reasonable distance for travelers and adventurers to get over. And you can figure out how fast a ship is going to go, how quickly you travel over land on a horse, or how quickly you can do it just by foot, to see how long it takes for you to get from port down to Redbeard's Rest, or to get from, let's say, a city up here. I'm going to draw some circle trees as well, just for the fun of it, just have a little bit of fun here, mix it up, give a little bit of texture. Let's say there's another city right up in here. We'll just call it a village. Now, if we're traveling from the village all the way to the port, that's going to take quite a long time, and there could be bandits and all kinds of bad things along the road. And another thing we could also add is maybe like a dotted line that is the main road here. And if we have another city up here, we could draw a pathway around the mountains. There's a lot of opportunities that you can explore when you're making a map here, but this is just kind of some basic stuff. Having rivers come from your mountains, making your lines kind of squiggly, scraggly. You don't want to make them smooth, because a smooth, this is not a continent. These are like domino dots or something, or an amoeba. Like, I guess this is kind of looking like a paw or something, or an action hero. Kind of looks like that thing from Big Hero 6. But anyway, this is not a continent or a geographic region. This is a geographic region, and this is what you kind of want to shoot for. And if you want to blow things up to bigger sizes, you just expand them out. So if you want to make an area based off of this, like a city, you just put it here and change the scale. And you can do all that with just some basic mathematics from the size of the square. So I hope that gives you some ideas. This is just a very quick overview, a quick tutorial. Give you some ideas, put you on the right path, and just have fun with it. Really explore, be creative, and don't try and do things exactly how I do it, but take what I'm doing to give you inspiration for your own way you want to do it. So thank you very much, and have a great day.